Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Still with us, Trimel Gomez, Victoria Petroff, and fresh as if he came out straight from Bel Air, Liad Hirman, co-founder and CEO of Safe House Tech. Thank you very much for joining our conversation today. So without further ado, is freedom of speech in jeopardy? Let's take a closer look. Yes.
What does the future hold for a privatized Twitter? Elon Musk, a man famous for cars, rockets and PayPal, but not so much for predictability. The billionaire himself retweeted the words, "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy." But is there any real objective argument for taking this platform private? Would public markets not hold the company more accountable for balancing freedom of speech rather than one unaccountable owner? With hate speech and online abuse on the rise, will reducing the regulations and boundaries on Twitter encourage more hatred and incitement?
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we begin with 30 seconds to make your initial stance on the issue. Victoria, take the lead.
I think it's very important that Elon Musk decided to buy the Twitter because he's announced the freedom of speech finally, and people tired of to be spied or hacked of account. And Elon Musk has promised that he will fix this situation, and of course he will make it fun, as he said in the Twitter. And I like that Donald Trump, who has his own social net, he support Elon Musk in this, and he's saying like Elon Musk is make it better. And so let's see what's going on. But I think it's a very good idea to have a freedom of speech.
Well, Trimel, what's your take?
All right, so my direction is to Elon. Come on, bro. What is this freedom of speech thing you are suddenly obsessed about? Show us what are some real examples. Do you even know freedom of speech also gives us the freedom not to speak? I mean, that is an option to consider, but if you feel you should have the right to say anything without consequence, then we need to recalibrate your understanding of free speech because it is not limitless. So I would like to get more information on Elon's view of freedom of speech. I'm glad he's able to advance Twitter, but we want to see what he plans to do with it.
Liad, what are we missing here?
I think there's a bigger picture here. It's not necessarily just about freedom of speech per se, but what we're looking at is the unmasking of understanding that each and every one of us has a digital identity, and now part of it is being bought by a private owner. And that till now, it is still owned by private hands who just created the platform themselves. And I don't see a big difference between Elon Musk buying Twitter and the Baron Bandits buying the first newspaper in New York City. All we're seeing here is that we finally come to the understanding after 2 years of being online more than ever, that part of our identity is now owned by a private individual. And it's much bigger than just free or not free speech as it is.
And to trigger the debate from this point, exactly, we have this romantic notion to an extent of freedom of speech, as if it's like, you know, a scene, a Hyde Park type of a scene that each of us get the microphone to say what we feel and think. But in the online sphere, it means a completely different thing, right, Liad?
Yeah, when we look at internet speak, a lot of the time freedom of speech per se is the right of someone to take liberty to say whatever they want with meaning of offense. Unlike past days, like the 20th century, where we had governments trying to oppress people from speaking out loud, right now what we have is regulations that are trying to protect people from getting harmed. What are the right kind of angles to it is a debate, but what isn't a debate is that, a lot like my colleague here said, that freedom of speech is not a place to use to hurt other people without any consequences. And within internet speech, if you will, this is what a lot of freedom of speech has been talked about. So it's kind of a wordplay to get away from consequences.
So Trimel, how do you mend this gap between this absolutist free speech raison d'etat and the perhaps demand from people across the world, especially in Europe, for some content moderation, asking governments to get involved in trying to contain this limitless, borderless universe we have created?
Well, in the terms of Elon Musk and his recent obsession with free speech, only when it's advantageous for him to be able to go about his venture of acquiring Twitter. I would be more comfortable if he has been preaching this talk for more than just a few months.
Yeah.
His track record does not stand up to a freedom of speech absolutist. So there's more to be seen, and freedom of speech, it does not go without consequence. We cannot incite harm, and using a platform such as Twitter to support violence and all of that stuff, he will quickly find out that there are consequences and he could be held liable.
But Victoria, maybe we're all just getting too cynical. Maybe we are seeing a genuine attempt here to find a technological solution to a long-standing human problem or tension between transparency and profitability and freedom of speech. Maybe he is just trying to be innovative here.
I think, of course, Elon Musk want to help to the people for freedom of speech, but we not need to forget that Elon Musk, he's a businessman,
right.
He's a millionaire, and so he's making his business. So I think the second side of this question is that people will believe in the freedom of speech, and he will get more money because people will believe, like the wave. We will have a freedom of speech, so it's a new social net and the Twitter, and so it will be a lot of money which has come to Elon and the Elon Foundation. And so I think the first what he's thinking is his business ideas, and the second is, of course, probably he want to be the person who will start a real freedom of speech in the United States, because as I told before, that people are tired to be spied, to be hacked, to not make own and write own ideas in the social net or internet. And also I'm thinking that anyway, if you write something on Twitter, so probably in Twitter is secure, but the government will read you, and probably you will have a little bit difficult time, like in the Stalin's time. So we not need to forget about it.
And Liad, putting the cynical lens back on, maybe, just maybe, we're witnessing a Cold War, so to speak, situation here, but instead of Washington and Moscow, it's Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos here competing over dominance, global dominance and space?
Again, I would look one step deeper. I don't think, I disagree with my colleague here completely. It is not a business decision, whether as a power move. We're looking at big tech moving on, not to ideas, but on the platform where ideas are made. If you control the platform, and a lot like back in the day where you would control the newspaper, you would control the media, you would know how it works. Once you control the platform, you control the flow of ideas. And when you control that, you have much more power than any other news outlet or business for that matter. This is not a business decision to buy Twitter. It's not how to make it more profitable. It's how do I control new ideas, and how do I control the flow of ideas between us digital personal entities. Therefore, I can control what has been said without the need of censoring anything. I can hide behind words like freedom of speech, and while I control the algorithm, I control the mechanism of communication, the mechanism of conversation. Therefore, I can control what ideas are being born or what ideas are being accepted by a global audience. And I think this is the point more than anything else. It's not about censorship. That's why they are cloaking themselves with freedom of speech. It's about the control of the flows of idea.
And as we're nearing the very end of this debate, Trimmel, what is left to be done for us, the simple citizens who simply want to use those platforms that have been taken over, as Liad said?
I would say I would bring it both together. I would say it's a business decision, and it's very much about power. You see often these uber rich individuals, and many, if you look back on their track records, like they own either newspapers or media entities, and look, here we now he's venturing into Twitter, this public square, to use his term. So I think it's both a need for power and being able to make this wise business decision.
Yes, well, we're out of time, but not out of passion. Trimmel Gomez, Liad Herman, and Victoria Petroff, thank you so much. I really hope to see you again on the show. We're out for a final break, so you don't want to miss what's coming after. See you in a bit.